All right, here we go. Live instant reaction. AEW Big Business. I guess the least kept secret in professional wrestling, the debut of Mercedes Mone. The show is still on the air, but it is about to end. Mercedes Mone is in the ring. She just had her final segment. Welcome in. It's still real to me, ZASLOW Show 2.0. Look, we don't typically do a reaction show for AEW Dynamite ever. I mean, we've only done a couple reaction shows to this point, but very rarely do we react to AEW, especially Dynamite. But discussed last week on the show, regardless of what you think or how we feel necessarily about Mercedes Mone and her debut in AEW, we figured it's big enough. It's a big enough story. It's big enough news that she's debuting in AEW that I would jump on right after the show and do a reaction. So here we go. ZASLOW's in New York this week, so no ZASLOW tonight, just me. And I'll react to the whole show because it was a really good show. I thought it was the debut was good. They did it interestingly. But we'll go through all of it. I'll give it a few minutes, or give it a little bit of time, see if anyone pops in here. And I mean, the show is still going on. Obviously, I guess because it's in Boston, they're just letting Mercedes Mone dance around the ring and do her thing to the crowd because it's already 10:06. They are eating up every minute of this overrun to let her celebrate her debut here in Boston, which is great. That's her hometown. That's why they did this show. But yeah, so like I said, it's still real to me reaction show, YouTube exclusive. We've been doing a couple of these. The response has been great. Some of our most watched videos, people really seem to enjoy them. People really seem to like seeing these live reactions. So let's just get into it. The debut of Mercedes Mone, formerly known as Sasha Banks. Gio, what up, bruv? Hey, I'm glad you said it because I'm not going to get right into Will Ospreay. But if that wasn't your favorite part of the night, if Will Ospreay wasn't your favorite part of the night, I'm not really sure what wrestling show you watched tonight. I wish I could just sit here and talk about that promo that Will Ospreay cut tonight all night. But the reason I'm reacting, the reason we're even doing a show is because Mercedes Mone debuted tonight. And look, it is exciting that she's back in a major promotion in the United States, no doubt. Look, she's one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE history. We all know what she's done. And I appreciate the fact that AEW does the thing where, they didn't hide that this was, they never announced formally that this was going to be her debut, but they also made it very clear this is going to be where she debuts for AEW. And they don't say, look, we're going to do a 3-hour show and then maybe she will, maybe she won't. They just start the show off and they bring her out. So I like that. I appreciate that. And part of me almost went live right after that happened because that's the whole reason why the whole reason why I was going to do this reaction tonight was because Mercedes Mone was debuting. So I actually momentarily I thought, you know what, why don't I just go live now and react to her debut? But I'm glad I didn't because as Gio's mentioning in the chat and I just mentioned, there was some great stuff tonight. I actually think tonight was a highlight night for AEW in terms of just highlighting how strong of a moment they're having with their roster without even having MJF back in the mix yet. Because we went back to back to back to back segments with guys who I believe are going to lead AEW into the future as top guys in this company for the next couple of years. So I thought it was a great show. And I'm glad I didn't go live right away because I get to react to that stuff. But in terms of Mercedes Mone's debut, formerly known as Sasha Banks, no matter what you feel about her, the truth of the matter is, like, the fact is, and people may not love this, she's never been a great promo. She just is she's always been a little shaky on the mic. And clearly she was very nervous This is a big night for her. So the promo was kind of short. It was a little shaky. But it was fine. I get it. It's a big moment. So I'm not going to like crush her for not having the greatest promo in her debut. She didn't. It was a lot of like, I'm happy to be here. I'm home. And I guess by home, she meant Boston, not necessarily AEW, but I guess maybe she means AEW too. And, the one thing I thought was weird about the promo is she caught a lot of heat from fans this week talking about how when in an interview or on a podcast where she said she would be back in WWE one week before debuting. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one who caught it, in her debut promo, she referenced WWE. She didn't say WWE, but she said like first woman to main event a pay-per-view. That wasn't in AEW. That was in WWE. So I just think it's interesting. In a week's time, she's referenced WWE twice, and she's like one of the biggest free agent signings for AEW in the history of the company. They just did an entire show based around her debut. But the promo was fine. It was fine. Nothing spectacular. I think, it's going to be incumbent on AEW to really make this work with Mercedes Mone at the level that they're expecting it to work. I've been a pretty strong proponent with her that she is one of the best, if not the best, in-ring women's wrestler of like ever in WWE. And that's why she was great, because she had, these 5-star classic matches. She also had great dance partners, Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, all these people in WWE, and then the platform of WWE to make her great. And one thing we've seen with AEW a few times now is they pump up these huge signings, particularly former WWE wrestlers. They pump up these massive signings. They come in, they put a spotlight on them, and then they fade quickly. I mean, if we're talking about just the women's division, and it's probably just because she's not that great anymore, if we're being honest, but Saraya is now doing like a gimmick on Rampage where she's like trying to break up Ruby Soho, another one who they made a big deal about. And whatever's going on with that, I don't know what the hell's going on with that story, but ever since Tony Storm created this gimmick that she has and totally exploded, they're gone, right? And I'm not saying it's going to happen with Mercedes. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do think it's going to be pretty incumbent on this company to put her in stories that keep people invested in her, because I could see her being incredible, being the top of the card and putting on classic matches. I could also see a scenario where like in like 2 months, we're like, what's she doing right now? Because we asked that about a lot of people who come to AEW, because they do have a loaded roster. So people get lost in the shuffle. They're probably paying her a ton of money to be in that company. So I don't think she's going to get lost in the shuffle, but it'll be interesting. I do like that they're going to do something with her and Willow. We talked about what was going to be, the Serena Deeb thing. She talked about it, Sasha or Mercedes, and mentioned it. And people were saying maybe that'll be her first feud. But for the people who don't know like the whole backstory, because a lot of people don't watch New Japan or follow New Japan, Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks left WWE, went to New Japan, debuted as Mercedes Mone like last January. Almost immediately won the IWGP Women's Championship, which wasn't around that long, from Kyrie, who now obviously is back in WWE. Held it for 60 days or so, lost it, and then Stardom and New Japan, I guess, basically, they created this title, the New Japan Strong Women's title, that I think they essentially created for Sasha Banks, Mercedes Mone. She won it, and then in her second match against Willow, broke her ankle, and Willow won the title. So, and she's been out since then. So I think it makes sense that they're going to have her interacting with Willow and potentially have some sort of storyline there with her and Willow. She mentioned Willow in her opening promo. We still have unfinished business, this and that. And then you have the end of the show. And I know a lot of people on Twitter were like, wait a minute, Willow and Rio are main eventing this show? That's a little strange. But obviously that was to set up the save at the end of the show. Willow beats Riho. The lights go out. Julia Hart and Sky Blue attack her. Mercedes Mone makes the save. Gio says that he doesn't like that Julia took the finisher, but overall Mone as a draw and makes the division better. Would like to see DMD versus CEO. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people would like to see DMD versus the CEO. Where's DMD? Where's Britt Baker? Has she been on TV in a year? I don't think she's been on TV in like a year. I also, by the way, Jamie Hayter was trending during the show too. People are dying for Jamie Hayter to come back. Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Mone would be great too. Mercedes Mone, Toni Storm would be great. There's a lot of good options. And Monet, Gia, I don't know that I disagree, but is Mercedes Mone, is she a draw, or is she a draw in this moment because she's debuting in AEW and she is like an all-timer from WWE? Like, again, not to shit on her in her debut, but like in a month, are we going to care as much about Mercedes Mone in AEW as we do tonight? I'm not sure. Like, again, she's not a great promo. She never has been, and that's not everybody is. She's incredible in the ring. So it's going to be about what are the stories that they're telling with her. How long can Mercedes Mone have a storyline, have a feud with Willow Nightingale, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue, and you actually still care? Like, I know that's going to happen. You got to build her up to this new audience, which it's not even a new audience. Everyone knows who she is. But how long can you care about that, right? She comes in now. She's the top woman in the company for all intents and purposes. So, I don't disagree that she's a draw in this moment. I'll just be interested to see how it plays out because we've seen AEW like Adam Copeland's not doing anything. Like, I know he's doing the thing with Christian, but like when he showed up, I was like, all right, this is must-watch TV. He's Edge. There's nothing going on there. Like, it's just not super. It's not appointment television for me. Like, when I hear that Edge and Christian are doing something, I'm not like doing a reaction show or anything like that. So I only say that to say, like, we really need to see how they tell these stories with Sasha Banks. I do think it's good to see that she did something in the ring because there were questions like, is her ankle even 100%? I guess she did an interview either yesterday or the day before where she said they told her that it could be a career-threatening injury, way worse than they initially thought. So it's good that she's even getting physical at all. Her music's awesome. The CEO chant is awesome. And that's an important thing. She already has a clear connection with the crowd. I will say this. She has always, for me, Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks in WWE was always a better heel. Like, infinitely better. And I know it's hard because people just want to see her and cheer for her. But man, if you have her turn on Willow in that moment, now you have the biggest Toni Storm, I guess, is a heel, but like you have the second or first biggest heel in the company right there if you have her turn on Willow in that moment, I think. So that would have been interesting to me, but we'll see how it plays out. But overall, look, that's the reason I'm doing this, a reaction on a random, not a random show, but is because of Mercedes Mone. It was fine. I thought it was good, and it will be. We'll see what they do with her. I mean, that's all I can really say. Like, I thought it was fine. The only knock, if I had to have a knock with like how they did the debut, is that I guess AEW has just given up to the internet that they can't keep things hidden. Like, they've sort of conceded that the internet is always going to find out what happens ahead of time because, like, over the last year or so since Triple H or however long Triple H has been, like, WWE's had surprises. But, like, Ospreay being in AEW wasn't a surprise. Okada debuting last week was not a surprise. Everyone knew ahead of Dynamite he was debuting. They did an entire show for Sasha Banks' debut. They didn't announce it. They just did a show. Like, there's something to be said about the surprise in the moment. Like, everybody who wanted to see Mercedes Mone debut was tuning in tonight, which is great. But imagine if no one knows that she's debuting, and then you have that clip that can go like truly viral. Like, holy shit, WWE superstar. Like, put out fake reports. Mercedes Mone talking to WWE. Do some like, devious stuff. Get people to think that maybe she's not coming to AEW and then have her debut and make it like an even bigger deal. It's a big deal. That's my only thing is like AEW doesn't, they have done surprises. They just recently, they're not, the debuts are not, they're just announcing it and letting you know like, hey, these people are coming, which I guess is fine because they don't feel like maybe they can keep it hidden. But I would have liked to see that, but that's fine. It's whatever. What I didn't like about tonight's show, although it was a good show, is having the title match second. What are we doing? Like, that's crazy. Like, this is, I understand that the whole show is built around Mercedes Mone, but we spend all this time, AEW spends all this time trying to tell people that they're the real professional wrestling company and it's a sport and it's important. And the world title is second on a Wednesday night for free. The world championship is being defended in the second segment at 8:20 on a Wednesday night. That's crazy to me. You want to make it feel realistic that if you're going to have a world title match, if you're going to have this number one contenders meet match at a pay-per-view to say that Wardlow has earned a shot at a title and you want to make us think that Wardlow has a chance, you're going to put that match at 8:20 on a Wednesday night? Duh. I mean, obviously we knew going in Wardlow probably wasn't going to win, but come on. Like, the match was fine. And actually there were moments in the match. There were some good, there's some good spots, false finishes, whatever. But having a title match at 8:20 as the first match, after Mercedes Mone just debuted. The energy in the arena is massive. There's these huge pops, chants, all that stuff. Generally, whatever comes after something like that is a letdown. And then you put your world title in that spot. It's a weird booking decision, no? Like, wouldn't you maybe put Chris Jericho and Hook in that spot? Because who gives a shit about that story? Like, put that there, let the crowd calm down a little bit from Mercedes Mone debuting, and then have the world title match later in the show. Maybe have it at the top of the hour at 9:00, but 8:20 on a Wednesday having a world title match. It just didn't make sense to me. Overall, the match was fine. And by the way, this was the beginning of what I talked about, where they had back-to-back segments where they really are beginning to showcase the future, like the guys who I think are the top of this card in this company for the next couple years. And that begins after Samoa Joe and Wardlow match with Swerve coming out. Because look, there's no question, Swerve, unless MJF comes back and wins that title, there's no, like, Swerve's got to win the title. And I know there's still the Hangman thing, and Hangman said he'd rather die than Swerve, that he would rather die than Swerve win the title. And there's still that story. That story has to be told. But how over is Swerve and how awesome is he? I mean, he's great. So having him come out and he's still going after the title, I love that part. That was cool with me. Again, my real knock on it is just the placement in the show. It makes the title feel so unimportant, putting it at 8:20 after the debut that the show was built around. You put a world title match. That means, like, Wardlow, you are a legitimate non-factor, by the way. Like, that's all that tells me. But Swerve's the man. So I like that they had him come out. I like he's still involved in the title picture. And I'm very, very good with that. And then we go from there. Again, here we go. Back to back to back to back. Showcasing top guys. And Gio, I think you just mentioned in one of your comments, show me the Monet. Tell us your thoughts on that trios match. Talk about the Spot Fest. Talk about a Spot Fest. Pac is awesome. Penta's awesome. Okada's a superstar. The EVPs are Monet. Listen, that match, this trios match that they had. So it was the Elite, which is the EV, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson and Okada versus Pac, Penta, and Eddie Kingston. This match showcased, and I can't help but bring up WWE in certain situations. Two guys that are at the top of my list of guys that I would love to see in the current version of WWE. Pac is one of them. I would love to see what they could do with this current version of Pac. He's incredible, and I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's healthy. I hope he can stay healthy. I'm a little bit confused because if you watch the pre-show for Revolution, they played a vignette and he seemed very heelish. But maybe he's just deranged. Maybe he's going to go in and out of being a heel and a babyface because he was obviously a good guy in this scenario, but he seems like his character is going to be a heel. So I don't know what's going on there, but he's awesome. It's hard to have a bad match when him and Penta are involved, as you said, Gio, because they're both awesome. And then Okada's the other guy. Like I love what they're doing, and he's just such a superstar. When I see him come out and I see the way he interacts with the camera and the motions he makes during the match and the things he does, I envision his WrestleMania entrance. I can't get it out of my head. He's such a star to me that he's going to do great things in AEW. He's another guy that I believe is like immediately a top level guy, one of the top guys in the company after a week. He's one of the top guys in the company. And I know he's made it clear that he's going to go after Eddie Kingston's Continental Classic title thing, which is cool because he's not going to be in the world title picture immediately. And, I don't need to, I don't know. I mean, I don't need, he can't go for the TNT title. He's not going after the TNT title. So if he's going to go for a title immediately, going after Eddie Kingston's cool. But Okada is, I mean, he's so good. He's such a star. And even just like I said, the way he just knows when to look directly into the hard camera, or when he hits the Rainmaker and motions to the ref, like, come on, this is over. Let's do this. Like those little things that he does in the ring make him such a good heel, but he's so talented, and he just has an aura of like a huge, massive star. So I'm glad that they're going to push him hard and push him hopefully correctly long-term here. I think he's one of the top guys in AEW. There's just this thing that I can't get out of my brain, which is, man, can you imagine the coins dropping and the Rainmaker entrance at like a WrestleMania? Oh man, it would be incredible. But great match. EVP gimmick is awesome. This version of the Elite is awesome. Long term, it'll be fun to see how it all plays out with Kenny. Hopefully, gets healthy and comes back. How it plays out with Hangman when he comes back, because remember, Hangman is suspended from the Elite. So all of that'll be interesting. But man, Okada, what a star that guy is, and I couldn't agree any more with you, Gio. Like that guy, he's really like one of the top guys in the industry. Just on like just sort of aura alone, you just see him and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why this guy was the biggest guy in Japan for however long. And then, you know what? Before I go to the best part of the night, from like my favorite part of the night, let's talk. We'll just Jay White, Darby Allin. Thank God Jay White won this match. First of all, like it needed to happen. Hopefully, again, he's the fourth guy of the 4 matches in a row where I said top stars being highlighted tonight. Jay White is a top star in that company. Hopefully, after what happened tonight, this is the beginning of them treating him like and booking him like the top star that he is, because he's incredible. So Jay White, Darby Allin. Jay White ends up, Darby's still beat up from the back, from the bumps that he took at Revolution, and so Jay White wins the match, which is great. And Bullet Club Gold comes out. They put a chair around Darby's leg. The story is Darby is going to go climb Mount Everest, and if they break his leg, then Darby can't climb Mount Everest. Okay. He's about to hit the chair with the baseball bat. Here comes the Acclaimed. Bang, bang, Bullet Club gang or whatever. So they come out to save Darby Allin. Okay. Because this is not what we do. We're the, bang, bang gang. But Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I don't know why I'm glad they're not a group anymore, by the way, because I don't know why, for some reason, I can never remember Bang Bang Scissor Gang. But, um, so they save Darby Allin. The Acclaimed bring Darby Allin out of the ring. Daddy Ass grabs the bat from Jay White, throws it down. They agree, okay, this is not what we do. And then when Daddy Ass goes to leave the ring, Jay White grabs a chair and gives him a chair shot to the face. Bang Bang Scissor Gang's done. So, unless my timeline of events is off in how this went down, the first person that the Devil, remember the Devil, everyone? Does everyone remember the Devil? The gimmick, the Devil. The first person the Devil attacked was Jay White. And for months, Jay White did not have anything to do with the Devil. Like, there was nothing. Jay White just didn't interact. The Devil didn't attack Jay White. Jay White didn't go after the Devil. The Devil just attacked Jay White. Then finally, the Devil's revealed as Adam Cole, and we have the Undisputed Kingdom. And because of the Undisputed Kingdom, they got 4 guys, and they attack Bullet Club Gold, and they attack Bang Bang, or the Acclaimed. So what do? We have to create this super group called the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, because we need to go after Undisputed Kingdom, because we're more powerful together. They can't get us when we're together. And then once the Bang Bang Scissor Gang got together, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think they ever interacted with the Undisputed Kingdom once on television that I can remember. I don't remember there ever getting like their comeuppance with the Undisputed Kingdom, and now they broke up. So what was that? What was this story? What happened here? I don't understand. And in all that time that this is happening, this guy Jay White, who I think many people agree could be the top heel or maybe even face in the company, he is that good, has just been doing nothing. They've basically been doing nothing with this Bang Bang Scissor Gang that was supposed to be a super group to combat the Undisputed Kingdom. But they never did anything with the Undisputed. I don't get it. So I'm glad it's done. I'm sure they'll do a trios match. I guess maybe there was rumors for a long time that this was the way that they got to uniting the ROH trios and the AEW trios. Whatever. I'm fine with that. The trios title seems irrelevant to me anyways. So there's definitely no reason to have 2 trios titles on AEW TV. So if they want to put those together somehow, I'm fine with that. And to be perfectly honest, I'm okay with the Acclaimed winning that match too, and Jay White just moving on to something bigger and better. Jay White's not a tag team wrestler. Jay White's not a trios wrestler. Jay White is a single star, and hopefully tonight, beating Darby Allin was sort of the start of that. I don't know, but I'm okay with them breaking up, even though the whole story was weird. As far as Darby goes, they did end up hitting the chair and hurting his ankle, which is clearly the way they write him off TV while he goes and climbs Mount Everest. Listen, I've been very clear for a long time. I am not a fan of Darby Allin. I don't like his fighting style, and I don't think he's an entertaining person. That being said, I hope he doesn't die on Mount Everest, because that is a pretty dangerous thing to do. So good luck to Darby. I hope he's safe, and I hope to see him back on AEW TV soon, because that means he didn't die on Mount Everest. Don't really like him as a wrestler or as a character, but I do hope to see him on AEW TV soon, because that would mean that he didn't die on Mount Everest, and that would be cool. By the way, side note, and then I'll move on to the best part of the night and wrap this up. Tony Khan was asked about the spot that Darby Allin did at Revolution and gave this response basically saying, I don't just let people do anything. I'm not just going to let anybody do any spot. I have to know that they're going to be safe, and they have to have a plan, and there has to be safety involved. And Darby Allin always, anytime he asks me to do a spot like that, he plans it out. He knows how to do it. He knows he's going to do it safely. So I trust him. I've never heard such bullshit in my life. You're telling me that a 20-something-year-old kid who does these crazy stunts came to you and was like, "I know how to perfectly jump off of a 30-foot ladder into a glass through 6 chairs and a glass sheet perfectly that there's no way I'm gonna get hurt." That's horseshit. That was a dangerous spot. They're called stunts for a reason. Like, if they weren't if there wasn't a chance of him getting hurt doing that spot, then everyone would do it. It's a psychotic spot and it shouldn't be allowed personally. And to just come out and be like, hold on, wait a minute. Darby Allin plans it out really well. So I'm cool with it because he plans it really well. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, it was a bad spot. And then he had another rough spot tonight. And now he's going to go climb Mount Everest. God bless. I hope he's safe, but I'm cool with not having these crazy spots for a while. All right, Gio, you're right. It's time to talk about Bruv. All right. Like, I know this night was about Mercedes Mone, and for people that maybe tuned in late, like I talked about Mercedes Mone off the top. Great debut, like good debut, probably great to a lot of people because she looked great. The music's great, the chant's great. But I talked about it at the beginning, so you could go back to the beginning and watch it. To me, and clearly to others, the true person who stole the show tonight was Will Ospreay. I mean, good Lord. Like, I know this guy's great. And I think everyone knows he's great. And there's no question that as a professional wrestler in the ring, he is top 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to say in the world. He's like that good. He's a freak athlete. He does all the things Kenny does, but he's younger and more athletic. Like, he is incredible. I don't think people knew, and I don't even know if I knew, that he could get you fired up in a promo the way he did. Like, the promo he cut tonight was hopefully this was a massive audience. Like, people tuned in for Mercedes Mone and saw what Will Ospreay is. And that's how good I think this promo was tonight. And it wasn't like the longest promo ever, but the way he talked about how throughout his whole career, he wanted to be Bryan Danielson and he wanted to be that top guy. And but this is more important. You know, he did the typical stuff. Like, the difference is that there's people that this is more important to me than it'll ever be to you. And there's people out there all across the world that it's more important to them. And then he hits the line. He's like, people, and I can tell you why it's more important, essentially, because people around out here in the crowd have been saying this. There's a line that people have been saying. People in the back have been saying it. People around the world have been saying it. The crowd out here has been saying it. And he said, the line is, restore the feeling. And then he screams, bruv, I am the feeling. I got goosebumps when he said that. I don't know about everybody else, but when he screamed out, bruv, I am the feeling, I was like, Will Ospreay is bringing back the feeling. Like, this is what it's all about. The passion, the way he delivers everything, like, it's hard to be that good. He was incredible. And I don't remember, I'm going to have to go back and watch it. I don't remember it word for word, but I wrote that line down when he went, restore the feeling, bruv, I am the feeling. Like, you know, we always, I know, like, in the chat, it's been joked about how The Rock does this thing now where he rubs his arm because he's rubbing his goosebumps because he says he gets goosebumps when he comes out. The only guy I've gotten goosebumps from in the last few weeks, months, whatever, watching professional wrestling was Will Ospreay's promo tonight. I legit, when he said, bruv, I am the feeling, I got goosebumps for real. And I was like, holy shit, give this guy whatever. And I don't know, Gio, like the question, how did WWE not send the Brinks truck? I don't know. But I will say this. I almost feel the opposite about Will Ospreay from what I feel about Okada. There's a part of me that would be a little concerned that Ospreay, as good as he is, might get lost in the shuffle in WWE. I don't know why. I don't know why, because he is such a star. I don't know why I feel that way. Because there's something for me, and this is just a personal opinion. The difference between them is that when Okada's music hits and he comes out, I just look at him like he looks. He has this look of $1 billion. Like he looks like $1 million to me. He looks like an absolute star. Ospreay, when he comes out, I know he's a star. You know he's a star, but he's he looks like a soccer hooligan, which is a sick. I mean, the getup is awesome. He plays the part to perfection. But when he comes out, obviously the crowd's chanting for him, and the spray with the music is great. But I don't know that he strikes me as like his look, his aesthetic is like superstar the way Okada's is. And the reason I wanted to see Okada in WWE is because I think they could accentuate how big of a star he looks like. And Ospreay would go to WWE if he went to WWE, he would put on incredible matches and probably cut good promos. But I'm not sure that right off the bat they would present Ospreay as a star the way he is being presented right away as a star in AEW, which is, I know that's crazy for me to say because I don't normally say that about AEW, but the time they're giving him on the mic, these promos that he's cutting, and then one of his first like major matches is going to be against Bryan Danielson, which means you're not going to have a better dance partner for one of your early matches in the company. I think he's in I actually think he's in a perfect situation. He's so damn good. That was really in a night that actually I thought was a really, really, really strong. I generally don't get excited about these AEW named dynamites that are like kind of pay-per-views, whatever. I thought it was a really strong night for AEW of highlighting the top people in some of the top people going forward in their company. And I do think that the highlight of it for sure was Will Ospreay's promo. So if you didn't watch the whole thing, or if you didn't catch the promo, if you're watching this reaction from Mercedes Mone and that's all you really saw, do yourself a favor and go watch the Will Ospreay promo, because the guy is truly like, he's top of the game right now. Like I actually texted ZASLOW, who will be back this weekend for the normal show. He's in New York right now. And I said, I literally said to him, I got goosebumps from this promo. Ospreay might have just shot to the top of the list for whatever the list is. He might have just shot to the top of my list with that promo. Because I know how good he is as a wrestler, but man, like if he can cut promos like that on a regular basis, the sky is the limit, which we already knew, but the sky is the absolute limit for that guy. I don't think there's much more I can say about it. I mean, it was great. So overall, good show. Look, I know a lot of people are excited about Mercedes Mone being in AEW. It's good. It's great for the women's roster. Let's see how they highlight that women's roster now with her there. Let's see what they do with it. But my biggest takeaway from Big Business, AEW Big Business, was, man, AEW, the top of the card right now looks incredibly strong. They are having a real moment for the top of the card and the talent. I hope they can continue it. They have had issues in my mind of keeping consistency with their storylines and showcasing their top guys. But you had a show on a Wednesday night, a free show, where Swerve Strickland was on it, who is a star. You had Okada wrestle, who is an absolute superstar. You had Will Ospreay cut an incredible promo, who is an absolute star. And you had Jay White finally win a singles match I mean, maybe he's won others, but hopefully start the push, who is also, by the way, I believe, a huge superstar, on a free Wednesday night show that also, by the way, Mercedes Mone, one of the biggest women's wrestlers in the history of the business, debuted on. That's a big show for AEW. So overall, great work. I just hope that they can continue the momentum, because they're building something right now. And they don't even have the top guy in the company, or a few of the top guys. No MJF, no Kenny. Hangman's out for a while. When everyone's back, there's potential for this company to really take off and get back to a point that they were a while ago. And Adam Cole as well. So strong night for AEW. Will Ospreay's the man. Appreciate people tuning in. Gio, of course, always holding it down in the chat. I appreciate all you guys. We'll be back this weekend, likely on Sunday at our normal time. And until then, appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks.